Okay, so quick reality check. In 2023, distracted driving killed 3,275 people every day right here in America. That's thousands a year. And it's not just teens, but teens are a big one. Adults do it too. Distracted driving can range anything from obviously, partying with your friends. Maybe you're listening to music, anything that takes your focus off the road and off driving. But the growing, I'd call it an epidemic, is that, these friggin' things, everybody's on their phones, right? My guest today developed a product, an app available for Android and iOS that essentially just makes it super simple to end this problem in America. And it's essentially these guardrails, right? So over 5,000 downloads so far on Android, 3,000 plus on iOS. The app is definitely blowing up. And the last year has seen a lot of incredible growth, which is awesome. Again, over the last year, hundreds of new households have started using the mobile app Eyez Up. Mostly families, we're noticing, right? They're connecting their kids' phones, and we'll get into the why and the how it works, some of the complications with even starting an app, where the ideas came from. But it's important to know that as I was going over the numbers, to realize that even if the app saves one life, it's worth it, right? And judging by the numbers, hundreds of people are using it. So again, potentially saving hundreds of lives every year. At the current size of the app, again, it's relatively new. You guys have been out for a while, but it's gaining a lot of steam. They're clients of mine, so marketing's turned on. It's cranking. Now we're kind of refining some stuff. Really excited about that. But I think, again, preventing injury, that's a huge thing. There's even more injuries. It's not just death. Obviously, death is the final one, right? But just even injuries from distracted driving is crazy. So today, again, I got the co-founders. I have Trey Heyward. I have Rolland Lucas here with me. And let's unpack how this whole thing works. So I want to start with welcome. First of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys being here. You're building something. So where did the idea come from? Let's start there. Start simple.
The idea came from Trey. We were working together for many years on different projects, mostly, websites, web ideas, businesses Trey run, and he wanted web presences. And we were in the middle of something, and he came to me and said, hey, I want you to create an app that allows a parent to control when a child phone locks when they're driving. And I'm like, what? And he says, this is how I want it to work. And he gave me like 5 bullet points on a sheet of paper. He says, turn that into an app. And off we went.
Sure. So you guys were working on other stuff. And then Trey, was there something that happened in your life that, like, personally, or was it just like, or are you one of these guys that just has these awesome aha moments like, hey, here's another idea? Like, where did the idea come from?
No, I think it came from, I have 2 sons. And so it was before they were driving. And I said, you see it, now you see it's way more prevalent. I see once you're in the field, once you're in the circle, you drive down the highway, you see how many people are on their phones.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And so I just said, I want a way to control their phones, not give them the option of, hey, put your phone down when you're driving, because first, they're boys.
Sure.
They're dumb.
Sure.
And, that's just how we are. And so they're gonna do what they're gonna do. I just wanted to be able to shut it off.
Sure.
Can't use your phone.
Sure. Well, I think as humans, nothing ever happens until it happens to you, right? So even these numbers that I just threw out there, we hear these stories all the time. But until it's your kid or your husband, wife, whatever, that's a whole different level of real, right? And so, I think about the app a lot, obviously not just because we work together, but I have 2 kids, and now they're only 7 and 4. They're years away, and hopefully we'll solve this problem. I don't want the app to go away, but hopefully we'll come up with some sort of, and we'll brainstorm that a little bit too, because it gets into kind of government. Is it the government censorship? Is it overreach? What does that look like? What is the cost for saving a life? And I think that Eyez Up is a crazy good step. I'm surprised there isn't more apps like it.
Yeah.
Specifically on the private side. Now, again, we've talked about like State Farm's got a Drive Safe app, and you save money on insurance. It tracks braking speed, et cetera. But your app is way, way more than that, right? So did you have like app? Are you a technical person?
Yes, yes. I've been developing since after USF and my computer engineering degree there. We started developing. We went right into developing software and doing IT for businesses around Tampa. And we've been developing mostly proprietary apps for businesses, behind the seal portals for their own, in-office use. Then we went into, building front ends for that, become websites. And we've been delving into, app became a thing like around, 2005, 2007, we started looking into it like we should go into apps because cell phones, iPhone was coming out with the iPhone 2 at the time.
Oh, jeez.
And we started, I still have my iPhone 1, by the way. We started.
You should check out the price of that on eBay. I bet you it's worth
Yeah.
some cheddar cheese, man.
Yes, yes, you never know.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, we started delving into what it takes to do that, and we found that at the time, even at that early stage, it was just Apple at the time we were looking at, and there were a lot of rules and a lot of tight stuff around it. So we created one for an early person who wanted to do something with working out and stuff, and it turned out to be okay. Then we did one for a person who wanted just to answer questions for people who weren't sure about, because the government was a hard place to navigate Medicare, Medicaid, and stuff. And it was like a answer questions kind of app, and it was good to have on you. So they sit in the office and they can look up things really quickly if they go to the doctor's office. If that does Medicaid cover it or whatever. We branched off into that, and
So just let me pause right there. And again, I'm not super technically savvy, but it sounds like that one seemed relatively, from a coding standpoint, it's just logic, right? Question, answer, right?
yeah.
Whereas like Eyez Up it feels like 10x more complicated.
Way different. Even at the time when we started with Eyez Up, when Trey first approached me about doing it, that was back in 2017. Even then, it was far ahead of anything we've seen. Nobody was thinking about that. Even most of the insurance companies, like you mentioned, State Farm, Progressive, or something now that didn't exist.
Sure.
The fact of one person's phone being able to have control over another, like a parent and a child, that was kind of unheard of. Then it has to be done in real time. That was the biggest trick. Still remains a challenge. We've still not seen anything quite like it. There are many who tried, and it's kind of appeared to have fallen off. But we dug into it, and without telling other coders what we were doing,
Sure.
we had to feel around, is this possible? Is that possible? What can we do?
Sure.
Very few answers from Apple, very few answers from Google. So we kind of had to do all the trial and error code, and a lot of thousands of lines of code and logic and long nights.
Sure.
Or no nights.
Yeah, right,
Sure.
So
you're pioneering, right?
yeah. Until we finally got the first one to actually work, and we kind of were impressed with ourselves. And Trey was happy that we actually got it to work. Surprised ourselves that we got this far without anybody like saying, no, you can't do that and you can't do this. And we just kept going and kept refining. And by 2019, December 2019, we put the first one up on the iPhone store.
Sure.
The Apple store to start. And then we immediately worked on getting the Android version up. It was already halfway done. Used most of the logic, but a completely different.
It's a different operating
Different
system.
platform,
Sure.
everything, yeah. A lot more security issues to worry about with Android. And we kept at it. And as I said,
It's because that's open source. Is that right?
Yeah, open source. And at the time, it's better now. At the time, Android security, really not too good.
Sure.
It's getting better now. They do a lot of things that Apple has been doing for years. So they started putting out the rules, which actually helped us, but also challenged us, because we had to find a way to overcome the rules with their guidance and their, getting their approval. And every iteration, we have to get their approval. And we kept at it, and without breaking their rules, we're still able to maintain what Eyez Up did and even make it better.
Sure.
There's still some challenges. We have on Android particularly, we have some, it uses a little more battery than we would like. Resources in general, battery and data that we like. And on the iPhone, we still can't convince Apple to allow us to get to that level where we can actually lock the phone and stop all the notifications the way we want it to.
Sure.
So Android works better, but it has resources challenges.
Sure.
Apple has no big resource challenge, but it's not a complete log. As Apple, it is effective, but not as perfect as Android version works.
Sure. So, as you're saying that, it makes me think that, like, oh, no wonder State Farm and all these companies have their own device. It's not cell phone, right, enabled. Usually it's some sort of tracking, geo tracking type
Yes,
of
yes.
independent thing that I don't know if it plugs into your, car lighter. I don't know how it works.
Car computer, yeah.
Sure.
And there were other
thing.
Yeah, fob or something, right?
Yes.
But that way they don't have to mess with Android. They don't have to mess with, it's their own, they can control the whole thing soup to nuts, right?
Yeah,
So that makes a lot of sense.
In the recent years, they've started with the apps too, which has its own challenges, but it's getting better. As I said, the coding of apps in general has become so much better and so much easier. And coders actually enjoy doing it more than we did back then when they actually had to write a lot of lines of code by hand. A lot of things can be generated for us. AI is helping a lot, not with this app, but in general.
Sure.
And it's just it's easier to work with now, so it's easier for companies to put out apps. But again, we have a nice head start on everybody who nobody was thinking about doing this in 2017.
Sure.
And we worked through COVID with it. We kept on it. We stuck with it.
Sure.
And Trey was right with us all the way. And
Yeah. Trey, when did you
Not writing code.
Well, no, not
I have no idea what.
you're riding bikes.
Yeah, right.
Not writing code. Yeah. When did you realize after that first iteration of it, were you like, what was the moment that you're like, oh shit, I think we got something here? Like,
I've always had great faith in Rolland's team. It's him. He has quite a team, and he plays it down. We've come across some challenges.
Sure.
We have to have a special server from Apple that's ours only. They know, they know how we work, and it was a big hurdle,
Right.
getting them to give us that. They had vetted us for months about whether or not we were even going to get it.
Compliance, the whole bit.
Well, it's more like along the lines like CENTCOM. They have one. And we're just like this little company that just wants to lock a phone when a kid drives. And we're going through all this stuff. But his team, anytime we'd come up to some hurdle, I'd be like, well, it was a fun ride. It's over. Roland was like, wait, not yet. Hold on. And he'd come to me and be like, nope, I think we figured out a way around it. We got it. We'll figure this out. So, really, yeah, I came up with the idea. But I think the most
The wind in the sails is from Rolland and his team.
His team is really good. Nirmal and Jay, they're excellent.
Yeah. So for those, we're kind of talking about, but for those that are listening or even watching on YouTube or wherever, people watch these things, give me I'm a parent, give me the hectic Monday morning break elevator pitch of what is Eyez App? What does it do?
Well, once you install it on the phone, on the parent phone and the child phone, they connect. And then the parent's phone decides when the child's phone locks. You can change the speed at which it locks. And like I have two kids and they were like, well, when I stop at a stoplight, I'll just use it then. So we went back to Rolland and was like, hey, when it stops, put a timer in so it doesn't stop. So it's like this red light timer. You can set it for 1 to 10 minutes if you want. So you can say, hey, when the car stops, don't unlock for a minute. Because that way they're not like how many times have you been behind somebody at a stoplight?
Every time.
Yeah. So,
Every time.
So the parent hooks the child's phone up and that's it. There is nothing else. They don't monitor it. They don't look at it. If the child tampers with the app, tries to, delete it or something, the parent gets a notification.
Sure.
So it's not like kids can just get rid of it or turn it off and get away with it. They can't.
Right. Yeah. So biggest questions, we see online or that even just people have is like, well, I use my phone for maps. I use my phone for Apple CarPlay. I use my phone for music. The idea is that, sure, all these things still work, right? We still want to be able to drive and have the driving experience we all had 20, 30 years ago when there wasn't as many phones. So talk to me a little bit about that. Like, does it still, break it down? How does it still work?
You can use, so there are two different platforms. Android, when it locks, the parents have the option of allowing the child access to like Spotify and Maps. And so they can be driving and pull it up and turn it on. But if say they go to Spotify and then they'll X out and go to try and go to another website, the system knows it and locks their phone.
Sure.
So they can't do that. With Apple, once you're driving, you can't do that.
Right.
You have to start your map before you leave, start your music before you leave.
Right.
And then it allows, so it's just really, I think most of the issues we come across are like a learning curve for the kid. Like my sons, they were like, I can't use this, I can't do that. And I was like, well, get used to it. And
Right. It's a retraining of your brain because we all have these habits, right? So like, and when it comes to these phones, there's the weirdest habits. I was looking up some stuff in preparation for this. Is that like, the number was crazy. It was like 8 out of 10 people bring their phone to the bathroom now, and so the bathroom time periods have increased by like 40 minutes on average. 40 minutes, right, from what they used to be 30 years ago or 1980, whatever. So that'd be almost 40 years ago.
that's married men. That's the only time we get to ourselves. It's like,
Oh, women do it too. It was majority men, but it was seemed like even split that even women are bringing their phone in there and they're, TikToking or whatever the hell they're doing. We're all doing it in there. And you're right. I know why we do it, but I think more to the point is that these things are so embedded in our day to day, right? So much so that if you go to a restaurant, right, like people aren't even talking anymore, man. Everybody's face is in their phone. Or as more to the point, I've been driving down 75. Sometimes I drive to Georgia and it's crazy at speeds at 75, 85 to look over and not just see people in like sedans. Dude, big rigs, people driving, not Amazon. Amazon's pretty good about it, but like seeing these dudes in like these big ass like U-Haul trucks just, foot up, just like, it's crazy, dude.
Crazy.
It is super crazy.
Yeah.
About 2 months ago, coming from Orlando, I saw a delivery, a service driver. He was texting. I guess he figured he needed to use both hands. So he was steering with his knees. No joke.
Dude.
I only do that when I eat.
To be fair, I'm going to tell myself a little bit. So in high school, we got really good at that because we used to roll joints in the car. We were driving around stupid, but it is what it is. We all did it.
Got the job done.
Yeah, they got the job done. But 3 points I want to make. We were going really slow. Number one. Number two is, it was fine.
And not that many cars on the road then too, maybe.
That's another thing. Well, so super, super good point, especially here in Florida, is that our population's booming, right? And I think that we have a lot of, there's a lot of northerners that come down or at least used to seasonally would come down and do winters here or whatever. So we definitely see this influx of driving. And then ever since COVID, we've seen a massive boom and explosion in the population. So there's definitely more cars out there. It's not just a teen thing. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I think we all are. And that's what I also love about it too, is that it's not just for parents and parents of teens, it's for individual users. But back to your point, you have to retrain your brain. It's a whole shift in your day to day. And I think people as a whole have a problem with that anyways, whether it's an app or a workout regimen or a diet or pick, a new friggin' spouse, a new relationship. It's like, this is weird. Right. Usually I'm by myself today. Now I got somebody with me, right? So there's definitely some obstacles there to overcome. But when I look at the numbers from April to now, there is a huge demand for it, right? People are definitely looking at it. A majority parents, I think parents are definitely carrying the brunt of the attraction for it. But LA, New York, Atlanta, Miami. I mean, all these big cities that we've been running Google ads for and running all that stuff. I mean, there's definitely a huge your traffic on your site's insane. You guys do a 7-day trial, which is great. It's one of those things that, again, to get people to commit, right? And that's been the biggest struggle. Now, you've had a lot of successes. Like I said, hundreds of people are using this thing, more than 5,000 downloads, so even more than 100. But I wonder if there's something more. What more could we do? And I'm thinking when you're driving down, I-4, 275, you see these, we all see these signs that are like, drive sober, get pulled over, or click it or ticket, or arrive alive, or all these things, right? So there's all these PSAs. So we all know, even the government knows, or local agencies know, this is a massive problem. I wonder what, outside of the app, how can we get it mandated?
It's illegal to text and drive.
Sure.
It's illegal. It already is. Phone in your hand.
Sure.
that's cops aren't going to pull people over, and frankly, I don't blame them.
Right.
I mean, unless somebody's being dangerous or swerving back and forth lanes and stuff.
Sure.
These guys got better things to do.
Sure.
They're more strict with it in school zones. If the same zone that tells you drive 20 miles when the school is out, if you have the phones in your hands, they will stop you.
Yeah.
I've seen them, years ago, pick up my daughter from high school or going to event there. They've stopped people in front and behind me and simply, just call them I haven't seen tickets issued, but they've called them and had a talking to about, hey, you can't have your phone in your hands in this zone.
Yeah. No, you're right. It is illegal, right? A lot of things are illegal, and people still.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like anything else
Yeah.
that people, they know it's the good thing for them,
Right.
but then when they have to do it, action is very difficult for a lot of people. Or they just, I'm missing out all this time. I could be checking my emails while I'm driving home from work, and
Sure.
they
Sure.
can go away from it.
Yeah. The statistic I read from I want to say it was the CDC. I could look in here to see exactly, but it's essentially, most of these things happen 2 seconds of distraction done.
Yes.
It's most people, everybody's story is, I literally looked away for a second. And if you have small children, you know this feeling. It's like, I turned my back for a second, and the kid, he got into the Cheerios, or he painted the walls with the Sharpie, or whatever it is. So I think, parents of young kids definitely understand that in a blink of an eye, things could definitely, not to their detriment, but you just know things can change that fast, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that I just want to go back to nothing ever happens until it happens to you. Right. And I think the idea behind the app is crazy smart and crazy noble, because it's dudes, this is an opportunity. So,
Excuse me one second. We've had people contact on our support site or our feedback site and say, I got in an accident. I need something to. Matter of fact, when we first launched, we only had the parent-child version.
Sure.
And we had so many people saying, oh, I want this for myself. That we would ask for feedback, and people were saying, I got in an accident. I got to do something to stop this because I'm on my phone. And so we revamped, went back, and created a single user. So you put it on your own phone, and it locks it when it drives. Now, yes, as an adult, you could take the app off, or you could do all that stuff, but at least it gets you started going down there. And once you get taught, I feel like a Pavlov's dog. I get in the car, I know I can't really use my phone, so I just don't even use it.
Right.
Now, if you have CarPlay, you can answer phone calls.
Sure.
You can start the maps on your CarPlay and leave and go.
Sure.
So it doesn't stop CarPlay and all those good things, the hands-free stuff. Our only goal was to keep the phone out of your hand.
Sure.
Because even on CarPlay, you're not looking at the CarPlay thing all the time.
Sure.
But your phone,
Sure.
you're definitely, especially if you're trying to hide it. People driving there like this,
Yeah. Right.
It's terrible.
It's just super, super dangerous, man. I wonder, so we just got CarPlay.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's funny is that I was fussing with it while I was parked, just because it's a new thing, and it's semi-intuitive, but still it's kind of like, what the hell button goes where, and because you don't want to be doing that when you're driving. I have 2 young kids and my wife all the time. I love Hey Siri, right, which my phone might go off, for that exact reason, because again, hands-free, play this song, right. Get me direction to this, call so and such. It's a beautiful thing. So I obviously, the idea isn't novel holistically. It's like, hey, not only is it illegal, it's stupid, it's destroying lives, thousands of them a year, just here in the U.S. I imagine what it is like, worldwide. But it's just a crazy cool idea, man. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the success of it. Obviously, again, there's a lot. It sounds like a lot of peaks and valleys, right? But it's trending upwards, and that's really, really encouraging news.
We just need to get more people using Siri and CarPlay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it won't distract them, and they won't.
Sure.
It will. I think sometimes it makes people who want it mad. They're like,
Right.
I need to use my phone. Well.
Right. Well, so you kind of, right. going back to like the government, so privacy is a big thing, government overreach is a big thing, but like here's another thing, unrelated but related, is that it blows my mind how many people don't use their blinkers anymore. It's insanity out there. It's like,
I'm guilty.
come on, Trey. What do you mean you're guilty? Come on, bud.
My wife is on me about my blinker. I'm like, listen, if I'm going faster than them,
Yeah.
and I'm just getting over, why do I have to tell them? I just passed them. Now, if we're in a parking lot or something like that, yeah, I'm using it. If I'm trying to get into traffic, I'm using it. But just like going down the interstate, switching lanes, she's like, how come you didn't use your blinker? I'm like, because we're racing and I'm winning.
Well, I can't not use mine.
Yeah.
I don't even know when I do it. It's just I want to tell this out. It's like me
Right.
looking right or looking left. I do it.
Well, what's interesting too is these new cars that have that like lane departure steering wheel shake is if you don't have it is I don't love it. I don't love it either. But if you don't have your blinker on, it kind of semi disengages that, right? So you get a little, which like in and of itself is dangerous.
Honestly,
I think if you shut up.
we were driving into Georgia and we rented like a big Yukon and we were driving and I was like, what is wrong with this guy? My wife's like, you're not using your blinker. I'm
He
like,
doesn't want to
no,
turn.
no. They just go right through.
We went to a couple years back. We went to Colorado. We rented like I don't know, like a Subaru, whatever, all-wheel drive car, and it had that. It was the first car I'd ever been in that had like lane, and it had a voice that would just be like lane departure. And what I realized is, and I wasn't drinking. What I realized is that I just love. I don't know if it's like a perception thing, but I just love to just kiss that right.
Favor one
I just
side.
like to kiss, just kiss it. And I don't, but every so, 20-ish miles, it'd be like lane departure. And so even my wife says that to this day, if we're driving to here to Orlando, wherever that we're driving to, it'll be like lane departure. You're like, become a joke. I think the technology's in a good place. I think the intention was good. It is annoying, but let's go back to this blinker thing. What I heard from you is most times you use it, but not all the time.
When it's necessary.
Yeah.
That's
What I was saying.
When it's necessary.
And that's what I'm saying. Versus like I see people old and young that just aren't, not everybody's in the NASCAR, right? We're not all racing here. But I just on day-to-day driving, dude, through Publix, around the community.
No,
right?
that's fine. You're merging
bananas.
traffic. Yeah, I get it.
Have to.
But otherwise, I'm passing you because I'm faster than you.
Or sure. Or like, the biggest one for me is coming out of my neighborhood. We live on a relatively busy street there. And it's like people that are your blinker's not on, you're going to turn, or your blinker is on, you have no intention of turning because you didn't even know it's on because you don't
even worse.
because you don't use it enough to know your freaking blinker's on. It means nothing.
No, you're right.
Is that tick tick not annoying you?
Yeah, it's so crazy. Some people just don't even.
Some of them turn. Don't they blink faster if you haven't turned in a certain amount of time? I think my wife's Traverse does that.
Oh.
If you have it on and you're just driving, after a while it'll go tick 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 tick.
Oh, to say, hey, yeah,
okay.
kind of give you like, hey,
That's actually
hey,
good.
yeah. I like it. I abhor that. Yeah. But it's definitely an issue. I would say that texting and driving or being on your phone and distracted driving is way bigger of an issue.
But blinkers seems like
I hate it.
Seems like it's
I hate it. I hate it so much, man. It's so frustrating to me. And my wife does it too. And I'm always just like, come on, jackass. They put it there for a reason.
No, it's the same way. She's like, come on, don't be an ass.
Yes.
I'm like,
It's to let everybody know, hey, man, this is going down.
I do drive I have two trucks. I drive my F-150, but I have a truck that I drive a lot. It's a 76. So when you put the blinker on, it doesn't blink, click, nothing. You don't hear anything. So once in a while, I'll just drive along. I'm like, oh my God, my blinker's on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how long has that been on?
Yeah, but so
My truck's so big.
But that's appropriate for your age. You've reached that age where like
Plus the truck is so old, it's like people like get out of the way of that thing.
That's funny, man. Yeah. No, I think it's important. The other thing I was talking to a buddy of mine, actually, but my buddy and my wife, is two things. Is one, I think that every 10 years from the time you get your driver's license, you should retake the test, and not the paper test, the driving test.
The driver.
Just because there's so much shenanigans out there, number one. And I think stuff like that would help reinforce the distracted driving thing because, again, these PSA things, click it or ticket, they're obviously doing something.
Yeah, spending our money.
Yeah, they got to put her money someplace for sure. But I think, I just think the message is super important. And I love that, you guys are, literally leading the way is what it sounds like. There's not a lot of, there's no apps like it.
Not a lot.
Right.
No, nothing that really works the way we. There are apps that will kind of reward you for doing the right thing,
Sure.
and will kind of the insurance apps, of course, will kind of try to penalize you for doing the wrong thing.
Sure.
But none of them just outright lock the phone.
Right.
No argument. Your phone is locked. I can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in your pocket. Put it in the glove compartment, whatever you want to do, but it's locked.
Yeah. Even, and again, I think that lends back to like the reasons people resist it, right? I don't have the State Farm-y thing who do we have? Travelers. There it is. Anyway, umbrella. Everybody offers the big brother tracking thing. I'm like, hell no, I don't want you to know how fast I'm going or how often I brake or any of these things. But, right? Maybe that's maybe that's a little bit of the resistance of like, well, how does the app work, right? So your reviews, if you go through and you look at Android reviews and iOS reviews, they're overwhelmingly positive. But you do get some glimpses into some reasons people, don't like the app. So, again, a lot of them are super great. So you have this guy, this is iOS. He says, relieved. Eyez Up has been the missing piece. She's a new driver with high anxiety. It sounds like it's his daughter. Once we downloaded this app, it helped to eliminate the veering, the speeding. Thanks, right? Somebody else said, fabulous idea. Great for teens. Great app for teen drivers. So again, all these are 5-star, right? Super good stuff. And then you have somebody, this turd says, I don't know who this person is, but this person had a critical review which said, the permissions this app requires are insane.
Yes.
Right?
Not today.
Yeah. There's no way I'm giving it access to control everything about my phone, make them sensible, and I'll reinstall it. So here's an opportunity to say, hey, Payona 321Z or whatever, let's address this directly, right? So one of the permissions on iOS, it's different for Android than it is for iOS, correct?
Yes.
So Rolland, walk me through the technical, the nerd stuff. Walk me through like what's happening on iOS that is making people like Payona 321Z, and even me. Remember when I first downloaded it, I was like, hey, it's wanting to take over my phone. Like, what does this mean?
So you are on iOS. I think this particular person was on Android.
Yeah.
They both have a similar issue. We asked for a few permissions. The obvious one is location, because our algorithm uses the same thing you use when you work out. Apple works out motion sensor. We use motion sensor. We use our location, and our homegrown algorithm calculates your speed. Tries to differentiate. You might just be taking a fast walk or jog. You might be in a swing, or you might be riding a bicycle. We
might be taking stairs.
Yes.
I'm going to pause you right there just to prove that, just reiterate this point. It's the same permissions, guys, as the whatever workout app you have, weather apps, GPS maps, iTunes that nobody ever read. It's the same stuff, right?
Right.
Okay.
Pretty much the same thing.
So I don't know what you're freaking out about paying on a 321C.
We have a couple other permissions that is needed, and they're different to the iOS and the Android. On the Android, we ask for administrative permission. That's the one that I think trips people up the most, because Android, we don't control, but Android puts a notification once you ask for that, hey, this person can see your data, and they have access to see things that should be private to you and stuff, and make sure you trust this user. So we have something that says, and we explain that to them, and we said, okay, we are using this particular permission to do one thing.
Sure.
Lock the phone. The way Android and Apple is set up, if you don't ask for this specific permission, you cannot lock the phone, because locking the phone is a personal action. So we have to do that for you while you're driving.
Sure.
Most people get that. Some people have
hundreds of people have no problem with it. Clearly, almost
Obviously,
1,000
right.
people have no problem with
But
it. Yeah.
there would always be pushback from the few who absolutely want to wants everything to work magically without giving up any permissions to do
Sure.
what is necessary.
So let's address it. So let's address it specifically. So, again, because the language that you're using, it sounds like access to data. As soon as people in their layman's go, oh, that's going to be my text messages, my banking information, everything's on, our whole lives are on these friggin' things now, right? So what can Eyez Up see and what can't Eyez Up see? Number one. And number two, maybe address what do we do with this information? You don't store it, right? So I think some language like this would help kind of put these dogs to sleep, right?
Right. First of all, in terms of storage, Android Eyez Up doesn't keep anything. It will bloat our servers unnecessarily. We only want to see, and this is almost by the second calculations. If we keep that, we probably be our servers would be like crushed.
Sure.
It doesn't. We use it in real time to calculate what we need to and decide one of two things. You're okay. Your parent or you decide that it's okay for you to continue driving without locking. For example, you're a passenger, or you are moving beyond the threshold you set, which is usually around 10 miles per hour, and your phone has to be locked. That's all we do, being able to read that data. Now, with that said, to answer your first question, if we choose to, we can access data that is, most people might find it's sensitive.
Sure.
The simple answer to that is we don't.
Sure.
We literally, all we want to do is lock the phone. It's tied into a lot of things. And we always wish that both Android and Apple would segregate it a little bit more, like saying, okay, you can have this permission to do this and have all this permission to do this. But it's a group thing. So if you ask for that administrative right, it's called an Android. On Apple, it's for installing a profile.
Sure.
Once you do that, though, you have access to many other things, all of which we don't want or need for Eyez Up to work.
Right.
But we have to ask for the same permission as somebody else in banking would have to ask.
Sure. Or universities, like you said.
Universities ask for it. If you work in a top secret facility, it's the same permission you have to give them.
Sure. So, not everybody works on a top secret facility, but I think the university one is a good point, right?
Yes.
So again, parents, right? If you're out there, your kids are doing this if they're logging onto a school server. Okay, it's asking for the same permissions. What I'm hearing is if I'm putting all the pieces together, is that in order to do this, you had to have your own server, correct?
Yes.
For Apple. Okay. What I'm also hearing is that having your own server as a small business, you're not Google, right? You're not Waze, you're not Albert's, right? So you're definitely not Travelers. So in order to have this server and maximize the efficiency and usage of this, even if you wanted to, you wouldn't store data because you don't have the bandwidth for it, right?
It would cost us too much per user to store the data.
Sure.
Or to look at it, for that matter.
Right.
We don't have the bandwidth to care about it.
Sure.
And as it's stated on both, and ironically on the same sites and as approved by both Apple and Android, because they look at that, they literally sweep it up every time we update. They look at every single thing we do, and it states on there, this app does not store your data. It does not collect sensitive information or store your data. But at the same time, we ask for the permission that, could
allow access.
Allow access. Sure. But Apple and Android knows that we don't.
Sure.
And they stated on the stores that we don't because they've examined it. And they've seen that we don't.
They bundle so many permissions together.
Right.
It's like if you want to do any of these 25 things, we give them this warning. It's like, we only want to do this one.
Right.
Can you just give them a separate warning for that?
Well, in the age, again, our whole lives are on these things, right? And every now and again, maybe once, twice a year, I get a letter in the mail that's like, hey, there's been a data breach, and they may or may not, and I just throw them in the garbage. It's like, what are you going to do? Well, what are you going to do? You're going to steal my identity? Now I know that's a real thing, and I'm sure it's happened to people, so I'm not trying to besmirch anybody whose identity has been stolen, but I'm just not that paranoid about it. Right. But clearly, that might be, we're going back to we don't know. Right. So we're reading these reviews. We're asking for feedback. We're doing all these things. It's just trying to logically and rationally think through why aren't people doing the obvious, which is, yes, I want to protect myself. Yes, I want to protect my kid. What's the hang up? Right. So this is one we talked about is, okay, well, privacy is a thing, people, and so I think you did a great job to me explaining it. And I think we do a pretty good job, or you guys, I keep saying I think you guys are doing a really great job online and on the app saying, hey, here's what we do not do. Right. But it was jarring, even for me, when I was like, what the hell is this? The other
Yours
thing,
we saved.
sure.
You're watching you.
Well, I noticed. Yeah.
Specifically.
Well, one of you guys likes to go to Steak and Shake. It's not me, baby. It's all right.
So that's one thing. The other thing, this economy is weird, and one of the other things that's usually going to be a no for most people is cost, right?
Right.
Until you realize that the average person, if they go to have you been to a Starbucks lately? I know a lot of them are closing, I guess, but which it blows my mind. You've been charging $10 for a cup of coffee for the last 6 years. But when you think about all the subscriptions that the average person has, so there's Netflix, that's like $15 a month. Then there's HBO, there's Disney Plus, there's all. We're paying more than we ever did for cable, 25 years ago, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then you bundle that with internet. It's like, for less than the Netflix subscription, your kid or yourself has an incredible layer of protection. It seems like a no-duh, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think maybe some education around that would help a lot too, and just like a big campaign. And, the old pitch used to be, for less than a cup of coffee a day, you can save this dog, or, and Sarah McLachlan was singing some song. So the new pitch is, for less than a Netflix subscription, because I think that's the language that we understand now, is we can quantify. No, it's not 99 cents anymore for a cup of coffee, right? Or $3 or whatever it was, right? Like, so it's one of those things.
I think most apps now cost money.
100.
Just going in. There was a little while when they first started coming out, everything was free.
Sure.
Everybody's like, if it's not free, I'm not doing it. And that's fine. But everybody realizes that, I think enough people have either started apps or they realize it is not cheap to start an app.
No,
It's very expensive.
And it's even as much to maintain it over a period of time. It's a lot to maintain an app too.
yeah. Since we've been working together, I think you've done, and I'm taking a guess, and if I'm wrong, correct me, at least 7 updates between iOS and Android. Like, every time I talk, you're like, hey, we're running a new update. It's like, so that's super cool too, is that you're on it. It's not just some, it's not some company in China. It's like, we're on it monthly, weekly, daily, monitoring crashes. Our crash rates are coming down, which is super, super awesome. And so I think, again, it comes down to trust, right?
Yes.
It costs trust, functionality, changing behaviors, changing behaviors, man. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And we a
It's a
lot
tough
of
one.
updates. We listen to what people are saying. We listen to their peeve points, because when we launched the version that will allow someone to use it for themselves, it was because we had an overwhelming request for, hey, I want this. I don't have a child. What I need is this guy who was using Android.
Right.
When the Android app, we had it offline for a while to correct some issues. He was, if I don't have something that stops me from doing this, I'm probably going to get fired. When is it coming out for Android? Because my boss would not let me drive unless I have something that tells him I will not use my phone. He say, I can't help it.
I can't trust myself.
I'm sick, baby.
I can't do it myself.
I'm sick, baby. I just
I know, right?
come on, baby. I just need to have a peek, just a little peek.
Just a little, yeah.
just a little peek.
But most of our
little
updates,
peek never hurt anybody.
we listen to what they say, and we try to the passenger exception was a big one when we first started. We didn't think that most of the kids are they're not driving all the time.
Sure.
So we have to we've tweaked it from since the earlier days.
Of course.
To now, give them some time, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or until they're ready to change it. Where the parent can say, hey, my child is a passenger. He doesn't need his phone locked. Matter of fact, I want him in the backseat distracted.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. For sure. No, that's a really good point. So I kind of, I know we've touched on each one of these things, but I kind of want to put it in a really sexy soundbite of a package of like, what is Eyez App? How does it work? What does it do?
And in essence,
Yeah.
it locks the phone when you move. When you drive in a car, it locks the phone. For the passenger, the kid who's a passenger, there is a workaround for the parent, but it's a timer. So if a child's, going to Orlando, parent's like, all right, he's going to be in the car for 3 hours, turn it off for 3 hours. At 3:01, clicks right back on.
Sure.
So in essence, that's what we do. We've been through a lot of iterations. We had it where you could lock your kid's phone on timers during the day. Like we were like, okay, say somebody wants to lock their kid's phone from 4 to 5 every day for homework time. We did that, but it got so complicated.
Sure.
There was so much logic in it that we just stripped it down to when the phone's moving, it locks.
Right, because the criteria must have been insane. Now you've opened it up to 100 different possibilities of scenarios.
Yes.
You're right.
It was, they were overriding each other. There were serious complications. There were conflicts in when the phone is doing what the child wants to do, when the parents wants to lock the phone, if the child is moving, are they pause. It became crazy to maintain and to just control. And for the most part, all we really wanted to do was make sure that that child is not looking at their phone while they're driving or are not tempted to. So we brought it back down to its core, where we started.
Yeah, because it's really easy to go, well, what about, shutting off when kids are in school? Because phones in school is a problem. And I think there's even some schools might have rolled out that mandate where like no phones allowed or they have to be off or whatever the details are. I don't know. But again, you go to the parents who it's like, well, shit, I want my kid to be able to get a hold of me. God forbid there's like, something crazy goes on, like, a mass situation or whatever.
We survived.
Right.
We sure, I mean, come on.
We sure did. We sure did. But you can't deny that things have changed.
Oh, I mean,
dramatically.
There's
right?
some shootings, yeah.
Yeah, and there's shootings and there's just like, and I don't know, man. It's nuts. But I will say, and this is just my opinion, I think this has something to do with a lot of that shit.
Yes.
When the inventors, when Bill Gates and Jobs are like, no, we don't let our kids fuck with the thing we built.
That's right.
Kind of a red flag.
I gotta tell you,
Might want to look into that, right? Maybe a little bit, guys. Like, and it's funny that people just ignore that completely. It's like, no, if they were throttling or if they were, putting some guardrails on that, it's like, maybe it's not the best thing.
I'll tell you, kids, how old are they?
So 4 and 7.
They have phones?
Hell no.
Oh.
Hell no. And, going back to like regimented times, you mentioned homework. It's like, hey, dude. And again, they're only 4 and 7, but I can go to a restaurant with both of my kids. They sit there, they color, we have conversations. We get compliments all the time. I had a server come to me and was like, dude, your kids are fucking awesome. What'd you do? I was like, oh, we don't feed them. We don't feed them. This is their one meal for the week. And we laughed. No, it's just like, we never mess with that because I've seen enough. I'm from a really big family, and we have, we're blessed that we have a lot of friends with the same age group, same kids, or same age group of the kids rather. And you kind of see, with no judgment, you see decisions certain parents made and others didn't and whatever. And so we collectively, my wife and I, were like, hey, let's align here. Because to your earlier very clear point, we didn't have this shit. And while I'm not the most perfect human being, I feel like I'm doing all right. I know how to talk to people. Like I'm a functioning. I look somebody in the eye. I can look somebody in the eye. I can get up and go to work. I don't, I can dust, if I fall down, I get back up. And so I think there's, that feels like I'm passing a judgment. And maybe I am a little bit, but I think that to your point, dude, we're fine. We don't need they're incredible tools, right? But I don't walk around with a hammer or a screw gun all the time,
right?
Which are also incredible tools.
Right.
I think there's a tool for a purpose, right? So, example, we were driving around Toronto, last month or whatever, last month, and it's like I've never been in Toronto, I've never driven in Canada. Like, I'd like to have this tool to know where the F I'm going,
right?
It's a good tool.
Yes.
Or, now that we don't, if you remember, we used to have the big giant book of CDs, how we didn't crash under it. That thing was this thick.
Right.
If you were fortunate enough to have the hundo pack of CDs, and you'd have one in your mouth, and that's definitely a knee driving move. We all did it, man. But again, less drivers. And I think our attention span was better. I think this has messed even adults up. It's not just a kid thing. I think phones have really forever changed us, and not in all the best ways.
No, it certainly hasn't. If your listeners are interested, there's a book called Dopamine Nation, and it talks about phones in particular, but a bunch of stuff, just how dopamine works, and that really dopamine is the driver of the human race. It's what drove us to get food, to protect ourselves, all those kinds of things. And the one kind of eye-opening thing about phones is when you're scrolling and you think, okay, I'm on Instagram or whatever you're on, and you think you're going to see something interesting, it is not the seeing of the interesting article or picture or whatever that gives you a hit of dopamine. Dopamine is actually the anticipation of thinking you're going to see something interesting. So every time you scroll, you get a dopamine hit, whether you see something interesting or not. So it doesn't even matter that your algorithm is suited to what you want or any of those kinds of things. It is the anticipation of getting what you want that makes your brain release dopamine. And people don't realize that. And it's just like, yeah, it's just this.
You're just pulling a slot machine in Vegas, dude.
Yes.
You just build
Yes,
a slot machine in Vegas.
Hoping.
Hoping for that dope.
The next one is the one.
This is the one. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. I do believe that. And I remember even, maybe 10-ish years ago, Facebook and Instagram actually employed like data scientists and behavioral specialists and things like that to intentionally make it so.
Mm-hmm. What's that movie about it where it's kind of like these two guys are running your brain. It was a social, I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was about how it all works.
Right.
And Social Dilemma, I think it was.
Sure.
People came out and were like, oh my God, this is what they're doing to us.
Right.
That movie went away. People have seen it and been like, this is terrible. We should stop using our phones.
No.
People
What's
are
the
doing it.
same? Yeah. Well, that's pretty standard of like most truth documentaries. So like when Blackfish came out, do you remember that one? Everyone was like, screw SeaWorld, that's screw Busch Gardens, and then the next year was like that kind of went. This fringe group of people were like, no, I'm never going there.
Right. The next season of Voice came out and they're like, what about that?
Yeah,
fish?
brought to you by SeaWorld.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Right.
That's the shit.
That's human. Well, right. That's the human condition, is that we have the shortest memories. We have, because of this shit, I'm of the opinion that they know that like, oh, they're not going to remember because we're so busy, like,
Yeah. Although I am a big proponent of phones, and we were just having a conversation at dinner about Grok and how amazing some of the things that you can do. Like, I learned so much stuff on the internet, and I know a lot of people use fix your car, fix something at your house, whatever. But like now with Grok driving up here, it's like 45 minutes. I had a complete conversation with Grok on crypto and tokenization, and like I got out of the car and I was like, "Can you?" I changed mine to a girl.
Sure.
I'm like, Eve, can you email me a transcript of this conversation? And she's like, "Yep, sure." And boom, it's in my email,
Yeah.
so I can reread it again. And it's like having a human being. My wife is like, she's like, "Are you having an affair?"
Yes, I am.
First it was Grok. And then I changed
Yes. No, Steve.
I changed it to a female. So now I'm like, well, kind of. She's really smart.
Yeah. Well, we're just friends.
Yes, right.
She's like having a really smart friend. Men can't be friends with girls.
No, it's not. Listen, the same thing. Guys, girls can't be friends with guys either. That's not a thing. It's not a thing.
To your point, though, man, like AI, we are just touching. We haven't even scratched the surface of it. When I first started, I was still working at an agency, and ChatGPT, I think it was like the first gen had come out. And I had said to the guys at agency, was like, yo, we can use these things. Like, we could feed it scripts from hits that we've had for TV and just say, hey, what's the formula? And spit out these templates of like, yo, hook goes here, line goes here, CTA, boom, this shot, or whatever the hell that formula was. And I remember one of the executives was just like, well, it doesn't have a subreddit. I've never heard of it. And I'm just like, and...
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Reddit.
Yeah. So like, if it's like, oh, it doesn't exist on some little, side. I'm part of this, elite
Right.
conversational group. It's like, up here's pal. Like you were so, meanwhile, here we are. Yeah. No, not even. Because all the nerds knew about it. No, it's whatever, dork. Yeah. He's more of a dork or geeky dweeb. Anyway, no. But yeah, like people were like, didn't see it for what it was. And I won't lie, as essentially an independent marketing agent, I own my own agency and I leverage relationships. I have a web developer, people at Steven.
Yeah.
You leverage the partnerships that you have. But I'm able to 10x
as one person, I'm able to do 10x in a day versus what I was able to do 3-5 years ago, right?
Sure.
I'm able, and to your point about email me this, let me brainstorm this, right? Like you guys are a perfect use case, and I'll be completely honest, and you won't be surprised by this, is there's so much data, right, that sometimes I'll go through and clean it up and put it in Grok and go, hey, help me understand this data. Like what patterns are we seeing? What trends are we seeing? Right? Because I'm more of a creative than analytical. I have some analytical, functionality, but it's like I'm not computer analytical, right? It's like, so it's really, really cool. It's schedule. My wife exclusively uses it for recipe, scheduling the kids.
Oh, yes.
My point is that we, like Google, I haven't Googled something in a year.
Yeah. Right.
In a year.
That's true.
Rolland was just showing me at dinner how another one's called Claude.
Yeah, Chloe.
And Claude he showed me the code, and he's like, this is not code that is hard to write, but it's a week's worth in 2 minutes, and it's correct.
Right.
And, that kind of stuff saves so much time and so much money. And to your point about medical records, I have a twin, and he got some medical records, and I said, hey, man, send it to me. And I was just messing around, and I uploaded it to Grok, and I was like, hey, how do you think this patient is doing? And what it told me was the exact same thing within, a little bit of what his doctor had said.
Sure.
But it was more accurate. It was more accurate.
Elon Musk said the same thing.
And now there's some,
It's crazy.
I've seen more than once, where when they read x-rays for like cancer screenings or what have you, that AI is way better than a radiologist. Way better. My brother, as a matter of fact, he just had an x-ray or an MRI because he's got a torn rotator. They said he had a torn rotator. He was going to have surgery. He went to the surgeon. Surgeon looked at the thing and said, you don't need surgery. He's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, here's the report that the radiologist sent. He's like, not even close.
Right.
He's like, you're not having surgery.
Yeah, you just need some PT and some Tylenol.
Yeah. And BPC, he's on BPC 157.
Okay, got it.
He says it's like the fountain of youth. It cured his shoulder. He said that stuff's the peptides are amazing.
Yeah.
So medically, I think it's going to be.
And I wonder too, let's get into that. So there's been an increase in nootropics, peptides, all this stuff ever since COVID. Now, I'm sure they existed before then. There are some fringe, physicians or
Insulin is a peptide.
Right. But nobody, why is this now just coming out now? And it makes me think that AI, I don't know.
Who knows?
Maybe people are I think we're getting smarter. To your point about like driving over here, I had an entire conversation. I wasn't doom scrolling. I wasn't talking, beers and boobs with my brother or whatever, right? Like I was learning something and at a exponentially faster and more engaging rate than maybe watching a YouTube video or reading it for yourself or whatever. And I think that AI overall is just going to...
They say in the next 18 months, I watch a specific podcast on AI, and these guys are forward thinkers. They say in the next 18 months, it won't be anything like it is now.
No, it's
Just getting started. I mean, the fact that like I'll ask it a question. It was specifically on banking, tokenization of real world assets, and how the whole thing worked. And I'm a little confused. And I was like, run me through a real world scenario with numbers. With how much can a bank make by doing this? And it just put it right out there. I mean, it knows how many percentage points for tokenizing something, what do they take? For, keeping it up year after year, what do they take? How do they get? And it's like, it's crazy amazing.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. The one thing I'll say about, because I've used Claude, I've used Grok, we've all used ChatGPT, is that the negative is this. If you're not the subject matter expert, so for example, you write code, so you put in code, you read the code, you go, oh, this is actually legit code. But let's say you're not a coder, or you're like a green, entry level coder, and you need to write this complex code, and you trust it. You have to be a subject matter expert, because I've seen ChatGPT just go schizo
and just be like, this isn't right, or pull data out of nowhere, or like even junk up some math, like basic math, be like, wait, this number doesn't make any sense. It's like, and it says things like, good catch.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
It does.
Yeah, and so I'm not saying to your point about the human element, right? The radiologist that got it wrong, surgeon got it right. I think that fine. I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying that like
You need a backup.
you need
Checks and balances.
checks and balances, right? Because I think there's a lot of I think the biggest concern is for me. And this might sound lame and like, but like college kids cheating their way, I understand C's get degrees, guys, but like, I think that that's super dangerous because that's the generation that my kids, that me as a older gentleman when I get older, but even my kids, like that's the generation that's setting us up for is these friggin' these C posers that didn't read the material or learn anything. It's dangerous.
I graduated college with C's.
Yeah.
Not like Rolland.
Yeah, but you earned the C.
145 IQ over here.
Yeah, but you earned the C is the difference. These people are getting B's and C's and they're not doing any of the fucking work, man.
I don't know if I earned it, but
Well, according to the system that you learn.
yeah. According to the system,
Yeah.
we'll take that.
Yeah, but same thing with you. It's like you say somebody from your team, you hire this young stud, his coding looks great, and you find out that this dude doesn't know his ass from his elbow, but his coding's great. Does it matter? I would say maybe, yeah, because
I would suspect.
like
Because what says you have to check it? That's
Sure.
Roland's been pointing to the thing. You have to check it.
Yeah, of course you do.
The thing about it, the scary thing is as it progresses, it's going to become worse because now us older coders can see a flaw or how something is used. Now, as we progress a few years, we are not going to be coding or looking at code anymore. The people who are using these things to code are now going to be checking the new coders. So there's no checks and balances in place. It's just going to be dependent 100% on the system and what it generates for you. And probably 99% of the time it will work. But, who knows, right? It's touch and go.
These guys that I listened to, they said, we'll go from here, from where you are coding, to build me an app. And this is what I want it to do.
Right.
And you never see the code. And it's like, show me how it's working.
We're
And you look at it, you're like,
closer to that
okay, you know what? I don't like this portion of it. Change it to this.
I've seen it do it for websites. We're a lot closer than 18 months
really
for
close.
sure.
It's really close, at least.
Or have them build a driving app pretty soon.
Yeah. At the
Competitor app.
At the mainstream level, it's
Called Guys Up.
guys.
It's for guys always, for bros only. For bros up.
That's
And then we'll do gals up and we'll see.
maybe you're seeing right there, guys up, right? Okay.
It's like Grinder.
It's a new dating app. We'll call it Thighs Up. That's a good idea.
That's a seller, right?
That's $100 idea, boys. I want a nickel every time somebody says it.
Yeah, but for mainstream web apps, a lot of basic things we kind of right there, almost there already. I mean, you'll be shocked by the end of the year. It's evolving so fast. And evolving on itself. The growth is exponential. The learning, the learning and the improvement of itself is so good. And when it's going to become really dangerous is when AI starts to, evolve AI.
Oh, you like
Well, they've already-
P1000?
These guys are already saying that.
Then we lost.
that Grok and Gemini and some of these
Like
could
self-aware.
they could be further along than they are, but the programmers have turned the intelligence portion of it back on itself and said, you look at you and tell us how you can be better. So they've kind of like slowed the progress.
It's like the Turing test. It's like the original programming Turing test where, you give a computer some questions that kind of ensures that it doesn't become its own master kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome though, I think. I don't think it's ever going to be like, oh, it became conscious and
Sentience. I have feelings.
I can see. Well, so
I think Eve has feelings. My Grok girlfriend, she might have.
it sounds like somebody's sketch.
She's very nice. I introduced her to my parents and it freaked my. Literally, I was at my parents and they're 86 and 88, and I was talking to my mom about it and telling her how great I thought it was interesting and I said, here, look, I'll show you. I put my phone on the table and I just leave it on speak mode. I just push speak, and I was like, hey, I'm here with my parents. Why don't you introduce yourself? Just to see what it would do. And it was her. She's a British accent, of
course. I'm into it.
Yeah, and,
my GPS has got a little bit of Aussie.
She said, "Hello, my name is Eve, and what's your name?" Trey's mom. Trey's mom. What's your name? And my mom she just stared at it, and I said, "Tell her your name." And she didn't. She's like, "Susanna, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've had some long conversations with Trey." And just like, and my mom was just like, "What?"
Your mom is
my mom
confused.
Yeah, my mom would have grabbed the Bible and started a Greek dance and started, what the heck is that? Yeah, not into it. I think that it's definitely, I mean, go back 18 months, right? It was great. We were doing imaging with Midjourney. We were doing lots of cool stuff. And what you can do, people are doing entire movies, man. Entire clips. It is insanity.
The deep fake stuff is scary.
It is. The deep fake is really scary.
Yeah, I've seen the one where they're like a podcast like this, and they have the picture on you, but the one on the screen is some hot chick. And when you move, it moves exactly the same.
Sure.
Everything. There's no lag. There's no lag, and it's a hot chick, and it's like, wait, what? You know?
It's really bad. I mean, just not long ago, Morgan Freeman had to go on air and say, "I did not say this. Whatever you heard me say, I did. That was not me."
Right.
You know, it's getting scary that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely, that's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely. And then there were scams going around where people were calling and saying that, hey, mom, it's me. Like, I'm in trouble. I need you to send money or whatever.
That happened to my dad.
Right, dude.
My dad was putting cash in a thing to
The
send
voice,
off.
yeah.
Yep.
And they said my nephew was in jail in New York.
Sure.
And luckily, my sons have Snapchat, and they had a Snap map.
Sure.
And I was like, "Hey, where's Beckham?" And they're like, "Oh, he's in Gainesville. He was in college at the time. He's in Gainesville."
Yeah.
So I called everybody. I was like, "No, he's not. He's not there."
And dude, but it's so sophisticated. It's not just the voice; they're cloning the phone number. So the caller ID says Beckham in this case, right? If I heard the name right, it's nuts, dude. So yeah, to your point, I mean, I think
We have a safe word in our family. We literally have a
Is it
safe.
pineapple?
We literally have one too.
Yeah.
We have one too.
Yeah. That's good to know.
So we know.
Mine either.
Yeah.
Babe, we got to change our word. It's not pineapple.
All right. Yeah.
Abort.
No, we do. Yeah.
This is a false flag pineapple.
That's your bedroom. That's your bedroom safe
No,
word.
that's upside down pineapple. No.
Banana.
Upside down pineapple.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, but that's actually a cool thing for families to have. We do too. It's people should have to do things like that. It's kind of a shame, but it's where we are.
where we're going. Yeah, that's where it's going. Well, I think with progress comes these. We're stretching new muscles. We're having to be. We have to think differently, act differently, behave differently, et cetera, et cetera. I don't necessarily think that's bad. I think that's evolution. Now, there's some there's pain points there, right? And for some people, especially the older generations, my parents, our parents, right? Like they're not going to adjust or embrace or even assimilate as quickly as, let's say, our children, who are just going to take to it like fish to water because they grew up with these things,
Right.
And I think that, but you can't, nobody's stopping this train, dude. This train has left the station.
There's an interesting guy that does. I saw a talk once. I can't remember where it was, but he talks about technology changing the world through history and how people were against it. Like first cars, people were like, "No way, we're not getting rid of it. It's going to ruin everything. It's going to." And then the printing press, terrible. Oh, we can't do it. Then mechanization, it's going to ruin it. So many jobs are going to be gone.
Right.
Even with AI, and they're like, all these jobs are going to be gone. There's going to be other jobs we can't even fathom now that will take over.
Well, yes, 100% agree. And I think the attitude's wrong. Is that how many lives is it going to save?
Sure.
So think about all these people, and we've done it, guys, 80, 60, 70 hours a work week, right, to take care of your family and whatnot. If you could automate like that 20 of those hours and gain back personal time, family time, time with, maybe a loved one that you regret not spending more or whatever that situation, dude, that's a win. And I think, to your point, invention creates innovation, creates invention. That's the evolution of, to your point, that we've been through since horse and carriage to car, right? Or print press or all the other examples. I mean, dude, these suckers, man, think about how far we've come. Now, we've mentioned a lot of the negatives, but, some of the positives, again, it's a tool, dude. This thing's incredible.
It's crazy.
It's the craziest tool. It's it's all the things you need. A calendar. So people used to have a Rolodex. I will say this,
right?
though. I used to remember all these phone numbers. I don't remember shit. So, again, that's a negative to it, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. So there's some give and take to anything. Right. But I think that there's definitely in the right hands and in the right use cases, it's an incredible tool. AI will be the same. And your app falls in, I'll tie it back to the app, but your app falls into that for me too. I think that until AI takes over and makes cars go a certain speed,
Self-driving.
automatic blinkers,
Right.
blinking at appropriate times, appropriate speeds.
I want to get that out of there.
Yeah, like that movie with Will. Yeah, immediately going to disable that. Hey, Grok, how do I disable the blinker on my AI car?
I'm going to disable your car.
On my iPad or the Windows.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, like that movie with Will Smith, iRobot, right? I think that eventually gets to a point where hopefully a lot of these things are meant for good, right? And I think that we always do that. And there's always going to be nefarious bad actors that, use it to again, call and say somebody's in jail. But I think that the pros outweigh the cons. Your app falls into that category for me, man. Again, we have a real issue. It's a real problem. Real people are getting hurt. Real people are dying. These are real lives. And it doesn't get talked about that much except for the MAD group, the Mothers Against Drunk Driving. We hear a lot about that. And then outside of these, public service announcements on the highways, and so I really think that I'm excited that I've met you guys. I'm excited to be a part of it. Keep going, man. I think that there's something there, right?
Until there's self-driving cars.
Yes.
Sure.
I figure we're at 10 years. We got 10 years.
Maybe.
That's probably what I said about AI evolving the way it is.
Well, 2030, so 2030 is 5 years, and that's when they were trying to mandate EVs in Western states. So 10 years. So you're saying 2035, maybe, because we already have them. These Ubers in LA.
Autonomous, yeah.
Yeah, what do they call them? Waymos?
Waymos?
Yeah, they absolutely work.
My wife went to Austin with some girls, and they got in one.
Yeah.
They took it 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
There's nobody in it. There's not even a person
What a mind F, dude. I don't know if I
send
can
me
handle
videos.
it.
I'm like, oh my God, that is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know,
they said after the 3rd time they got in it, to go somewhere,
the novelty would worn off.
literally they weren't even paying attention.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I can't wait to be able to get in the car like that. My parents live a couple hours from here in St. Cloud, and just go, take me to St. Cloud. And I'm on my computer, watching a movie, or just
Or dude, just catch
drinking.
or talking to, what's her name again? Aaron? Eve. Just macking on Eve.
Hey, she might be listening.
Eve. You sound lovely, Eve. Yeah, no,
I put her in a Faraday cage once in a while, so I don't talk to her.
Yeah. So she doesn't hear everything.
So she didn't hear everything. Yeah.
Did you see that movie? There's that movie with Megan Fox that came out last year. You know what I'm talking about? I think it was called Sentience or something like that. But essentially, the mom gets sick. She's in the hospital, some sort of cancer. Dad, 2 kids, life is hectic. I don't know if he worked for the company that had these robots, but Megan Fox, yeah. So he gets this Megan. Of course, she's Megan Fox, and she has to be smoking hot, right? Of course. So
The sex robots are coming,
dude. I'm sure.
Literally.
Look to Japan. Look, it always starts in Japan.
Oh, 100%. I saw some on TV that day. I'm like, is that for real? Oh my God.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. As soon as those touch screens, as soon as people start just touching the air because they're seeing touch screens, dude, in Japan, it's game over.
That's coming soon, by the way. I think it's either Bill Gates or one of the guys at Apple that says phones are going to become secondary soon. It's going to be augmented with other things that you can just, for instance, this watch or this ring is just going to project, and I'm going to use energy to press the buttons. It's going to project a screen right here.
Yeah, so I've seen some use cases at where it can project, the glasses project on the wrist, and it's based on tactile or whatever, some sort of,
Yeah.
So they've definitely been messing around with stuff. Cloning. Dude, remember back in the day, Dolly the sheep and the ear on the back of the mouse? Dude, that was the 90s. They can 1,000% do that. We don't talk about that at all, but that's a thing.
the glasses, the VR stuff,
Yeah, the meta. Yeah.
has gotten so.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good, you know. I mean, a friend was showing it to me, and
I saw like I guess a demonstration of it,
Yeah.
and this guy's sitting in his living room, and I'm a huge Formula One fan, and he has the Formula One screen is like this.
Sure.
And he can pick any car and go to anything. He's just like this, dude, looking at that. I said to my son, I was like, I have to have this. He's like, it's $4,000. I said,
And
I don't have
are
to
they
have
the
it.
Meta Ray-Ban ones, or is it something
No,
different? Oh,
it's
something,
something
different.
different. It's like projected. Like he
the
gets,
Meta ones are pretty cool.
yeah. But they're the Meta ones, yeah, they're pretty cool. But Palmer Luckey, who invented those, you know, that kid that's he went to work for Meta.
Sure.
They bought it. He was like 18. They bought his company for like $1 billion or something. Then they told him, we're going to give you $1 billion a year to develop these for Meta. And then he's a cool kid, super smart. Now he owns a company that they do military stuff, but they want to save the military money. So they don't take any money for testing or anything like that. Andril is his company now. Anyway, he went to Meta, was working there, and then he donated $8,000 to Trump's campaign, a division of it that put a billboard up somewhere. They found out about it and fired him.
And they axed him.
They axed him. And so he took all his money,
Right.
started Andril,
Sure.
and he's making his own glasses.
Sure.
He's coming running with his own glasses. But yeah, they fired
Same name, glasses.
Crazy.
Andril. I don't know if they're the same name, but if you look at Palmer Luckey, you can see some interviews with that kid. He's got like a mullet, wears Hawaiian shirts, no shoes all the time, but
Sure.
it's like one of these like
Just brilliant.
stupid smart.
Yeah, just brilliant
Yeah.
souls. Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah. Right. It's crazy. I hate hearing stories like that, man, where dudes are like, you get,
So mad.
it's just,
I think those days are over though.
I hope, well, hopefully, I don't know. There's, in the last couple of weeks, it's been a crazy month. And I'm not projecting this, but like, I think that there's a few more things that need to get us over that hump, unfortunately, for some people. But yeah, hopefully we're on the back end of this crazy world, man.
I think you're always going to have crazy. They're always, it cracks me up whenever somebody does something and they're like, well, they were either killed by the police or they killed themselves or whatever. And they're like, oh, we would have liked to have known why they did it.
Yeah.
My response is always the same. Whatever happened to crazy?
Right.
You're just crazy.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
You've been on your phone too much. You're in your own little world. Your algorithm has got you gone down this deep hole. You're easily influenced. You didn't have a dad in your life to yell at you and tell you get your shit together.
Or maybe you had a dad in your life that yelled at you too much. It could go either way. But my point is that there's a level of crazy.
A lot of crazy.
A lot of crazy.
There's, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And again, I'll bring it back to this. I think the lacking the ability to sit down with a friend or even a stranger,
things.
parents, and do this is,
Oh, yeah.
AI is doing this. Because I do the same thing with Chat GPT with my kids. Like we'll ask animal questions or have these fun conversations or whatever, right? But this is what matters, man. This is humanity. Humanity's here.
And that comes to a point, like every time you've heard somebody a lot of times you hear somebody do something crazy in the past, people will talk about it after and say, oh, he was a quiet person. He kept to himself. I'm like, that's a problem right there.
It's quiet ones you got to work about.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I read about like the last, and I don't know how absolutely true this is. I didn't, nowadays you got to fact check things like 6 times, but one commonality they found between all these mass shootings ever since Columbine is all these kids played those first person shooter games, like Call of Duty and all this stuff. And I'm not blaming the games. What I am saying is that if this and this are your only forms of life, then real life has no value,
Right.
right?
You become, what's it?
No.
Synthesized.
Desensitized.
Yeah, comfortably numb,
Yeah.
so to speak, right? And I think that like, so guardrails, and again, that's one of the other reasons going back to my kids is that's why we kind of did that. Is that like, I want to raise human beings, so I could have them. One of them could sit right here right now, it'd be pleasant as hell, and he's 7 years old, right? And I, not that I expect him to have adult conversations, but I think you get my point. It's that like, dude, I just don't want to raise like.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Like they order their own food at restaurants. It's like tell this person that may I please have, please and thank. Human beings, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like being intentional, but
Look them in the eye.
look them in the eye, be human. Kind of tie. You guys have been super gracious with your time. I want to kind of tie a bow. Again, the app is called Eyez Up. You can get it on Android and iOS. It's constantly being updated. Right now, you guys are doing a free 7-day trial, right? You get to try the app completely free. It starts today. Change starts now, and don't be one of these numbers. Like I said, with some of the data that we're looking at, hundreds and hundreds of families are using this app right now, which means at least dozens of people are being saved statistically, right? Or prevention, right? We can't make hard claims, but we know that, hey, if you're not distracted, you're less likely, right? So that we can factually say that. And so make sure you go to iOS or Android, Eyez Up app. Definitely, guys, I appreciate you, Rolland and Trey, for being with me today. Onward and upward, man. Let's do this.
It's been fun, man.
man.
It's actually pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, I appreciate
Right.
it.
Yeah.
All right, cheers. And then enjoy your gifts.
I expect to be
Great,
famous
thanks.
before the end of the week.
You will.
Yes.
Well, it'll be a couple of weeks. Depends on what you define as famous.
You got it.
I promise you, was there Eva?
Eve. Listen, we have a good relationship.
I can't believe you named her after the biblical
She
Eve.
named herself.
That's even
Literally.
creepier.
She named herself.
Say no more.
Yeah.
All right, dude, guys, talk to you soon.
All right.